Boyd Stout here, lazy Wednesday afternoon, never lazy, here in the United States, and I'm thinking about Canada. In fact, I'm thinking about Alberta, thinking about the Chamber Channel, and I'm thinking about what are some things that some insights I can share with you that are going to improve your chances of success. As a beta chamber, you've really taken on a huge task. There's a lot to tackle here, right? It's not really it's not an out of the box thing, right? This is something you're creating and you're giving birth to, but it's a system. It's a system. It's value management infrastructure. It's something you can use to achieve an objective. But once you've achieved the objective of acquiring a member, engaging the community, acquiring somebody as a member, what do you do with them? What do you do with them? There is a proactive organizational component to this that has to be deeply appreciated and invested in if your chamber is going to be successful. And so when we think about what is the problem, really at the core of the problem we're trying to solve, that is product market fit, basically, plain and simple. A lot of research has been done in the chamber world by chambers, about chambers. And there's one word that shows up more than any other word in the chamber lexicon, and it's relevancy. What is relevancy? Well, when something's relevant, right, it has a value relative to wants, needs, and expectations of a particular group. Relevancy isn't the issue. Relevancy is the phenomenon. It's the manifestation of the lack of something. And we call that in the for-profit world product market fit. Product market fit is, think of it like this. I like to call it a value nexus. It's where the value of the provider of the service or the product, right? The value intersects with the wants, needs, and expectations of the target market. And in this particular instance, the target market is small businesses. Why small businesses? Because small businesses, especially for Alberta, make up over 90% of the members, almost irrespective of which chamber you belong to, right? At the local level. If you don't know your customer, if you don't understand their wants, needs, and expectations, how is it that you're going to deliver on those wants, needs, expectations? They have them. They have a wants, needs, and expectations generally, and they certainly have wants, needs, and expectations of the chamber. One of the problems or issues that the chamber has historically had, and again, this is something that I've heard, this is something that I've read, this is something that's pretty well known. I'm supposed to be on a chamber podcast here soon. I was kind of investigating some of the podcasts, and one of the major chamber leaders that was interviewing on the podcast, they referenced this directly. If you go to the ACC website, ACCE website, and you get on the what is a Chamber of Commerce page, basically a whole page dedicated to it, which should tell you something. There's a paragraph there that says, people have this common misconception that chambers are connected and have anything to do with one another, and that there's any sort of standardization whatsoever. Is that a silly thing to expect? No, that every single customer of every single service on the planet would rationally believe, would conclude from the fact that you just call yourself a Chamber of Commerce, that there's some sort of similarity. That's the only rational conclusion. Why is it rational for an organization to treat that conclusion as irrational? That doesn't make sense. But it's a long-held, almost kind of proudly promoted belief amongst the organization that we don't have anything to do with one another. That is at the root of the problem. At the root of the problem is this: you can't standardize the outcome. You can't standardize any measure of success if you can't standardize the expectation of the target market, so they're making an informed and educated decision about what they're buying into, and you have a standardized means of delivering on the promise you've made to the consumer. In this instance, a member. And what is a member? A member is the highest form of customer. Is the most elevated form of customer. Why? Because they're buying into a promise, and they're buying in perpetually into a promise on a monthly or annual basis. They're buying into the idea that organization cares enough about them to continue to evolve who they are and what they do to deliver maximum value to the member. Do all membership organizations do that? Actually, very few do it very effectively, right? If they're a not-for-profit member organization, typically, unfortunately, because they don't operate according to for-profit principles, there's generally a failure. And that's not a knock on the people that run these organizations. It's not a knock on you. You've inherited an organization. In most instances, you've inherited an organization that has habituated a kind of we first paradigm. A chamber member, who's a former member, says, you know, they call us an investor. You know, we don't invest in them though. They call us an investor in them. We're not investing in them. I wasn't investing my money in them. I was investing in myself. When they didn't get what they expected to get, they left. The chamber's perplexed, right? Because the chamber's over there doing their thing. And you have consultants out there in the chamber world who be like, well, be louder. Be louder. Tell more people about what it is that you do and how important you are. Coming down 26 here in South Carolina, Interstate 26. Billboard after billboard after billboard, right? Charleston Metro Chamber, I'm going to throw them under the bus. Charleston Metro Chamber had all of these billboards promoting the fact that they got ACCE Chamber of the Year. Does that mean anything to their members? Does that promotion of that particular thing, does that enhance the likelihood that those members are going to succeed? No. Do you think that got past their members? That there's probably $20,000 worth of advertising here talking about how awesome the chamber is, and they're spending our money. They're not the beneficiary of all of the work and effort, not in any sort of immediate, tangible, individual way, and that's what matters. A lot of chambers will say, well, but our advocacy is so important. I'll tell you something else another member said. I don't have to be a member to enjoy the benefits of advocacy. That's not a benefit. They got a point. The takeaway is this. You have to understand the wants, needs, and expectations of the member, not ask the member to understand the value of you. Why are they valuable? What is it that they want, need, and expect? And what can you do as an organization to deliver on those wants, needs, and expectations? And I'll tell you, there is no organization on the planet that comes anywhere close to being able to deliver on the wants, needs, and expectations of small businesses. There's no other organization on the planet that can do that as effectively as the Chamber of Commerce. If the Chamber of Commerce, all the chambers of commerces were united in a value proposition, a promise, and a desire to deliver what they have, what they're capable of delivering to each and every member. I know for a fact, having talked to so many small, particularly small chamber, I've talked to a lot of large chamber executives, but there is a sincere desire to help these members. In fact, what I found that there was a lot of anxiety and even guilt associated with being a chamber executive. It's a very hard job because they were constantly trying to deliver on the subjective, meaning the individual expectations of their members. And they can't do that. They can't do that. That's an impossible thing to do for any business, any organization. And just because you're a not-for-profit doesn't mean you're not a business. You're a not-for-profit business. You still have to operate by business principles. And you have to have product market fit. That's where it starts. The value you bring to the market has to meet the market. And you've got to maintain a relationship with that market. You got to maintain that value nexus if you're going to survive. I know chamber execs are invested in the wants, needs, and expectations of the members, but you have to standardize the expectation by standardizing the promise. If the promise from every chamber, okay, it doesn't mean that and what I'm saying is not that every chamber has to do the same thing. That's not it at all. It's that every chamber needs to deliver the same kind of value in even their own unique way. And we're trying to address that with a system, right, that's going to make it easy to standardize the leading edge of the chamber relationship. But it's up to you and your organization and people who are running your organization. It's up to you to be invested in standardizing your promise and standardizing the delivery on that promise. If you can do that, if you can standardize the expectation by standardizing the promise and then standardize at least some of how you deliver on that promise, you'll be able to standardize outcomes. And what is the outcome you really want more than anything else? I'll tell you. You want your members to be proud of their decision to be a member of your organization. You want them to be proud of their decision to have a relationship with you. Why? Because people promote what they're proud of. They promote the decisions they're proud of making and the relationships they're proud of having developed. Think of your organization as a proud patron factory. People coming in expecting a certain kind of value that you've promised. You deliver on that promise prayerfully, over deliver on that promise on a routine basis. And they're routinely proud of their decision to join on a monthly and annual basis. They're proud of that decision, and they will feel compelled to share their pride, not in you, but in themselves. That's what you're trying to create here. Pride in a relationship. Standardize the promise you're making. Standardize the expectation by doing that in the market, so that when people come to you, right, they all have a general idea of what it is they're going to get, and it's not all over the map. Okay, you're not having to meet them where they are individually, right? They're coming to you with a certain expectation, and you have a way, a standardized means of delivering targeted value to them consistently. And you get to do that in your own way. And in fact, this system that you're building cannot work if you are not adding your own unique flair to it. If you and your team at your chamber aren't invested in a relationship, a meaningful relationship with your members. The next video that I'm going to do is going to talk about touchpoint choreography. It's going to talk about the process of interacting with your people on a regular basis, a way of engineering an ideal outcome. Engineering, right? Routinely engineering a proud patron, somebody who's proud to have that relationship with you, is going to promote you and, of course, bring more people in. Okay? But it's up to you to take what the system delivers, which is awareness, engagement, membership, and take those members and those vendors, take those people, those communities, take as good care of them as you possibly can, so they're as proud as possible of their relationship. You do that consistently, you will be successful. Thank you for your time. I really do appreciate it. Try to keep all these videos as short as possible, but if you get to know me well enough, you know I'm really passionate about this. I'm really passionate about you guys. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you need to talk to me directly, please let me know. Okay, we'll set up some time, and we'll go as deep as you need to go. Okay, I'm really invested in your success. Be invested in your members' success. Okay, and everybody's gonna win here. Thanks so much.